Christmas starts after Thanksgiving and no one can tell me otherwise. You already know we got the Christmas set up. Another week, another self-improvement guide. This time we're going to be talking about mental health. Improving your mental health is the only way to start mental health. I just started, I'm already messing up. In our last video, we talked about how working out was one of the gateways to start self-improvement. Now we're going to talk about the next gateway, which is mental health. Improving your mental health is the only way to start self-improvement. You can't better your life if you don't better your mind first. You're going to have no desire to make your life better if there's no enjoyment in your life already. It can be hard to improve your mental health at this age if you're in a bad spot, especially with school and other mandatory responsibilities getting in the way. You're thrust into things you didn't even choose to be a part of, or things happen in our lives that we don't know how to handle because we're so young. I used to suffer from bad mental health as well. I let my situation control me instead of controlling my situation, and as a result, I indulged in nothing but bad habits. Around a year and a half ago, all I really did with my life other than work out was play video games, jerk off, and watch YouTube. It never got to the point where I started smoking weed, drinking, or going to parties, but I'm sure if I stayed on the path that I was as I matured, I would probably start being a party goer. And that would have made my life even worse. I wasn't exactly in the best mental state because of that family environment that I had around me at the time, and the environment that I had at school. I was convinced that I couldn't do anything with myself, and seeing how much I indulged in bad habits only made me believe that more. It's like a cycle. Repetitive bad habits lead to bad mental health. Every bad habit you're doing is fabricated. Masturbating is a fabricated feeling of sex. Video games is a fabricated feeling of purpose. Partying is a fabricated feeling of social connection. They're all done to get some sort of pleasurable feeling. But when you have bad mental health, the way you go about achieving these feelings is done in the wrong way. One person may relieve stress by smoking weed, while another person may relieve it by working out. I learned all that from the book Atomic Habits. You should definitely pick it up. We all want the same things, but we go about different ways in getting it. How you get it is determined by your mental health and your environment. So if bad mental health creates bad habits, what good habits can we do to create good mental health? We'll get to that in a sec, but you need to understand something first. Some of you are probably thinking that these bad habits actually make you feel good. Maybe smoking weed distracts you from a bad life that you have. Maybe watching porn makes you feel loved. But have you ever thought about the possibility that they only feel good in the moment? They're all external, material things that don't bring true happiness and instead make your health even worse. Think of it like a graph. You have a baseline dopamine on that graph. When you do a cheap instant gratification habit, that dopamine spikes. But what comes up must come down. Unfortunately, because you've experienced unnatural ways of achieving that feeling of happiness, your dopamine drops below the baseline. So what started here comes up to here and then goes down here. Because your baseline has been lowered, you look for something even more drastic to bring it back up again. After you've done that drastic thing, your baseline drops even lower than last time. And the cycle repeats. It's the opposite with good habits. Good habits are hard to start, which is why it sucks when you're doing them. A cold shower is a perfect example. You dread getting in knowing how cold the water is. It sucks to be in there, feel the cold water hit you while you shiver. But once you get out, you feel warm, and you realize that you willingly put yourself into a hard situation. Came out on top, because the situation was only temporary, gives you even more confidence. The opposite effect of when you get cheap dopamine spikes. Your baseline is here, it goes down when you do something hard, but when you overcome it, it goes back up. As a result, the baseline rises. Now, even with all that, some people are probably saying, "Oh, but I can't, it's too hard, this makes me feel good." Do you think that those are the only things that'll make you feel good? Or do you just choose to do them over other things because they're easy? Because you use your environment and your situation as a crutch instead of a propeller. If you're watching this, you already know who you are, and I expect you to follow through with what we talk about. Once I came to realize that the habits that I was doing were making my life worse instead of better, I improved my mental health by practicing these habits. The first one is meditation. People nowadays always have something going on in their head. They never seem present in the conversation, always occupied thinking about something in the future or checking something on their phone. The modern day has conditioned people to be distracted and never present. We were made to live in the moment, not the past, not the future. When you meditate, it helps build focus on the present moment instead of worrying about the anxiety running in your brain. You condition your mind to be in one place instead of a million places at once. I'm sure you've heard everybody under the sun talk about how meditating is good for them, but maybe you've tried it before and it hasn't worked. That's because of two reasons. One, you gave up as soon as you got a distracting thought. And two, your first meditation session was 30 minutes instead of 60 seconds. When you meditate, you're going to have distracting thoughts in your brain. You've had anxiety running in you for so long that it's impossible not to get those thoughts. The point of meditation is to recognize those thoughts, not identify with them. Your goal should be to focus on your breath with nothing in your mind. When something does pop in your mind, it's not you. It's your little lizard brain trying to distract you. Recognize a thought, realize you're thinking about something that's going to pull you away from the meditation, and then do away with it. It's like training a muscle, except the muscle is your brain. Every time you choose to push away a thought instead of identifying with it is like a rep on the arm curl or a bench press. Instead of building a muscle's strength, you build a brain's focus. If you're just starting, however, you're not going to be able to do this for 30 minutes straight, which is why it's so important to start small. Just do it for 60 seconds. Maybe it can be in the morning, before you go to bed, in the middle of the day, whatever time is convenient for you. Let's do it right now. Meditate with me for 60 seconds because I haven't meditated yet today. Look at that, my head already feels clearer. Now, normally I'd meditate for 5 to 7 minutes a day, but I gradually worked up to that time. When I could go a full minute without any thoughts in my head, then I'd increase it to 2 minutes, 3 minutes, and so on, like progressive overload. If you tried meditating in the past, those are the 2 things that held you back from successfully meditating, and you need to start practicing them. Now, the second habit is journaling. I do 2 types of journal entries, gratitude entries and deep thought entries. We'll go over deep thought entries first. When your thoughts are in your mind, they're like a tangled earphone wire. They're all crumpled up and you can't properly string them together to be happy. But when you start to journal and you put your thoughts on paper, getting them out of your mind, if I could actually untangle them, give me a second. When you write them down and get the thoughts out of your mind, then they're like an untangled earphone set. Journaling calms your mind, keeps you in check, fuels your progress. Journaling doesn't have to be on one niche, it can focus on everything. Maybe it's about something you've been struggling with mentally, or maybe it's a new goal you want to set. Whatever it is, when you journal, you can't lie to yourself, because you're talking to yourself and nobody else. You can go around, put up a facade for everybody else, and lie to everyone. But when you journal, you confront your inner demons, and there's no running from that. Now for gratitude journaling. We're always chasing new things in life. Chasing a new car, chasing a new girlfriend, chasing a new status. But why don't we start focusing on what we already have? Why don't we start focusing on what we've been blessed with and make the most of that? It's a blessing that you can even sit here and watch this video because there are some people stuck in the same rabbit hole you are that can't. The key to being happy is finding joys in the small things. When you're constantly grabbing and grabbing and grabbing, it's like you're pulling a never-ending rope, and you're forgetting about the pile of rope that's right behind you that you already have. Focus on those instead of wanting something new. Appreciate what you have because you never know when it'll go away. I do this by writing down 10 things I'm grateful for every night and why I'm grateful for them. For example, I'm grateful for the books that have taught me so much about self-improvement. I'm grateful for the healthy food that my mom makes me because I wouldn't be in shape without it. The simple things like that we so often take for granted, yet our life would be so much different if we didn't have that. Next, you need to start looking for challenges. Like we discussed in the last video, when you seek out challenges and overcome them, you become more confident with yourself. You feel good because you know what you're capable of. The harder things you do, the more you realize how much of a badass you are. And if that doesn't breed self-confidence, then I don't know what does. Do something you dislike, do something that sucks, and do it every single day, every day, for the rest of your life. Overcome challenges and actively seek them out for fulfillment. Life is like a video game. You have to beat the boss, you have to obtain the item, you have to do the quest. Start playing it in real life. Beat the boss in the real world. Maybe it's hitting a PR in the gym, maybe it's taking a cold plunge. Do the quest, maybe it's starting a YouTube channel or an online business. Maybe it's starting self-improvement. Obtain the item, find new valuable friends that you can grow with. I'm not saying that friends are items for the record, I'm just using it as an example. Once you start seeing life as a video game, it becomes so much easier to do hard things and overcome them because you're leveling up your skill bars. Another thing you need to focus on to improve your mental health is diet. Constantly eating artificial shit like chicken fingers or fish sticks or some shit like that, it gives you brain fog and you struggle to think or concentrate. You ever have those moments where your mind's blanked out? You feel like something should be in it, and yet it isn't? You can't focus whether it's on work or a conversation. That often stems from what you're eating. What you put into your body determines what comes out of it and how you act inside of it. If you have a really poor diet, you're gonna look terrible too, and we already know how much that impacts your confidence. We were hunters and gatherers thousands of years ago. We were eating nothing but fruits, meats, and veggies. We weren't made to eat artificial food. We're happiest in our natural state. To obtain that natural state, try to base your diet around meats, greens, and fruits. I still have some unhealthy snacks here and there. I'm not saying I don't enjoy a bag of Doritos or a bowl of ice cream, but none of my breakfasts, lunches, or dinners are like that. Diet sounds like one of the easier pillars of mental health, but in fact it can be one of the hardest. Not because it's complicated, but just because it's tough to apply. You'll grow accustomed to it eventually, you just have to remind yourself why you're eating healthy. Speaking about being in your natural state, just go out on a walk, enjoy nature. Stop looking for the next click on Instagram or the next scroll on TikTok. Climb trees, explore, look at the bug in the grass. These are childlike things, but weren't we happiest when we were a child? Weren't we always looking to explore and find something new? Appreciating the beauty of what's around you pulls you away from the addictions of the modern world. You don't have to explore in a video game when you can explore in real life. And if you're starting to go out on walks every day, I bet your friends are gonna start making fun of you, which is why you're gonna need to drop some of them. In order to improve your mental health, you need to find like-minded people. Don't surround yourself with shitty friends who indulge in nothing but bad habits. They're just gonna pull you down. Most of your friends are people you just met from school that you gang up with to smoke weed or play video games. You guys aren't establishing any real brotherly connection or growing with each other. You are the sum of the 5 people you hang around most, so start hanging around like-minded people. Other people who want to improve themselves or are already deep on self-improvement. Look for an environment where your desired behaviors are the norm. When you start to improve yourself, your old friends, your instant gratification buddies are going to start to try and drag you down. They'll make fun of you. Maybe they even make fun of you before you started self-improvement. That's what they did to me. Why keep them around if you know you're nothing but entertainment to them? A true friend will challenge you, not try to drag you down. A true friend will grow with you, not stay in the dust while you move ahead. As you improve, you're going to realize how lost some people are. But that doesn't mean look down to them. Be kind to them. Being kind to others also helps your mental health. When you compliment others, they compliment you. When you do something nice for others, it makes you feel good about yourself. Even if it's something as simple as a smile, conversation, or a compliment. Giving to others for no reason at all, other than to see them happy, makes you happy. From now on, make it a goal to give an authentic compliment to somebody every single day. It doesn't have to be any more than that, it doesn't have to be any less. And the last tip to keep improving your mental health is to learn. Your brain always wants to learn new things. When you were a kid, you were always looking for the next thing to indulge in. Many of us still are, it's just we're learning the wrong things. Make what you learn valuable. Read books about self-improvement or money-making. When you're more educated, you're more knowledgeable, and when you're more educated, you're more knowledgeable, and when you're When you're more educated, you're more knowledgeable, and when you're more knowledgeable, you're more confident. There you go. It doesn't even have to be about self-improvement either. It can just be about topics you like. Things that are important to you. It's just important that you keep learning independently and you're not spoon-fed something you don't even want to learn. It's gonna take time to see the results of these habits. Unlike bad habits, these things do not give you instant results. But instead of getting worse over time, they get better over time. I guarantee you, if you just follow these habits for a month or so, you'll see an exponential increase in your mental health. At the end of the day, you're the one who chooses how you feel. You're the one who makes the most of your situation. You can either choose to be a victim, sulk, and indulge in bad habits, or you can get up and make a change. Your attitude can be flipped like that. Being happy is a choice, and I hope you make the right one. I'll see you next time.